Right, hello. My name is James McKay, and I'm the developer for OctoFarm. Um, I figured, considering 1.1, I don't even know what version I'm on, 1.1.5 is taking a very long time, I'd do some explanation as to why and give everybody a little preview around the interface changes that I've made. Um, whatever else I am attempting to do with this new version. Let me tell you, it's been a slog. And yeah, this is my first time on YouTube with my face, so excuse the lockdown beard and the lack of haircut and the fact that my face has decided to blow up. But yes, let's get started. So, you'll notice across the top the menus had some changes. Client, server settings, all this. When you first load it up, you will come to a screen as before, I think it was. I don't know, it was that long ago. I've looked at the older versions. Set up printers. This will now take you straight to the printers page, which is here, which is all separate now. So to get started, and to get started quickly, I'm going to import a list of printers. But we can now add a printer from here, type details in, this name, whatever you want, printer URL, and then save it. We'll not do that. Import printers. I've got a list of previously imported printers here. Now, I haven't actually saved done the function that saves all these at once. So I'm going to have to go through and click yes on all of these. Now, as you'll see, you'll get a little notification telling you that, oh, it's actually been added to the farm. Now, the whole system on the back end has been completely rewrote, really, because the older versions, people were having trouble with deleting printers. I don't know why you need to delete a printer. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, and all sorts of other stuff. The statuses weren't that great, so I've improved on that. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this bit. Just wait 2 seconds while I get all these added. Because yes, I have 70 testing printers all set up with Octoprint's amazing virtual printer. So basically what's happening is every time you add a new printer, it's dealing with that one printer instead of before where it would deal with the entire lot, which, let me tell you, was an annoying thing managing. Uh, yeah. While I'm doing this, I'd just like to apologise if I swear at all, because I am Yorkshire born and bred, and swearing is part of my nature. If I actually get through this video without swearing, I consider that a great success. So, there we go. All the printers are added. As you can see, they've all got statuses. Now, we've got a few new menu options here on the printer list, and some missing ones and all the rest. So, where to start? Right, so I've split a lot of the functions, so you can now open your web interface. I've no idea if that's actually just opened on the screen recorder, but yeah, that will open the Octoprint web interface. It will show you sort index, and all these headers are now sortable. So we can sort by this, sort by printer state, which probably won't do a right lot, sort by URL, Octoprint version, which all of my testing ones are 1.4.0. This will be activated soon, and this will do the old connect all, disconnect all, and we will also have power options as well, which will appear here when that's all coded. It's not at the moment. We have a resync all here as well, which if I click this, it will sit and cycle through every printer and try and look for it. Status updates aren't perfect because of the way the server-side events funnel down. So like a status update could take less than 500 milliseconds and it won't show it. But right, so yeah, they will scan, and if you want to resync them, or you can click here and resync just a single printer. All this works independent, so the background sync will finish, and you can resync whatever you want while it's all going. Right, we also have this from the old version where we can change the sort order. So if I refresh my page, that doesn't. Oh yeah, it does work. That's me being a dodo. So the sort index will update. Another thing to be aware of is if you actually do that with this and then shift one of them, it will save whatever index you've just sorted. So there we go. That's actually saved. Right. So you can now edit your printers, which I know was a very requested feature. So I want this in rack 1. I'll have this in rack 2. This printer is actually in rack 1, and this one is in rack 2. Now we can save the edits. It will go and save, and it should, yeah. So it only updates the printers that you've actually edited now, instead of before where it was a global hit, which is an annoyance when you've got God knows how many offline printers, as I know, because when trying to load the interface with that, yeah, it's a killer. Oh, and one of the main changes in the background is now all this is live, so there's no extended server restart. You will just see all the printers pop up and they'll go through the little scanny thing that we saw before. Right, so now before we used to have a little settings cog, and that was basically control, printer settings, anything that linked to Octoprint. That's now been split. So when we click on the settings, we will get this screen, which has a little nice drop down to switch between your different printers. I clicked off the modal. When this is all activated, you'll be able to do your connection settings, set up and your defaults, which you're going to need to do if you use the connect all and disconnect all buttons. You'll be able to see and edit your profile settings if you really want. There's a lot of these that are shown throughout the UI, so it's worthwhile setting them up, especially in the file manager if you can't remember which printer's which or whether it will accept a file because of the bed size, nozzle size, whatever else. That's all here now and will be editable when this is released. It's not at the minute. This is a new one that will be coming. It will handle your power settings, so we'll have your server restart, system restart, and shutdown. Mine aren't there because I still haven't figured out how in the hell you do that with Octoprint on Dockers, and all my testing instances run on the Octoprint Docker. The newest one will be here. This is power settings for your printers. So mainly this will work with Octoprint's plugins, PSU control, and there's another one that I forget the name of, Ginelli. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Developer will be screaming if he watches this. But yeah, you put your command in there, which is basically like it's in their API settings that you can go test and find out what it is, and then the URL to fire it. You can use printer URL, and that will shove in whatever you've got saved in the printer URL. And same if you need to pass through the printer API key, but generally that will be done by me, OctoFarm in the back end. That's actually not ready yet. Still working on that. The old school G code, that's all back. And I've put a note here because I'm not sure. I do need to check this up, but from my tests, it seems like the Octoprint API doesn't respond with the changes to this straight away. So if you do save changes and you see all these back to what they were before, it's worth going into the Octoprint API and double checking that. And I will be contacting, well, somebody on the Octoprint Discord to see if they can tell me whether it's me being a dodo or not. Next, we'll have printer settings, so camera settings. These are just other settings, and there's probably going to be more coming soon as the interface progresses. But for now, you can just control your camera rotation, turn it on and off, enable the time lapse. There is a bug around OctoPrint where it doesn't actually save this. I don't know how far they are along with that, but I'm sure they're working on it. And these settings as well, which were in the old interface but are now available to change. And we also have a cooldown trigger as well. So basically, your heating variation, when a printer is printing, it will drift. Now, sometimes that drift will be so much because of your cooling fans or whatever else, it will trigger thermal runaway, which is an absolute ball ache. I've had it before, and I'm sure anyone else here will have had it, and this will just give you a little status on the UI to warn you that this is going to trigger it if you don't catch it quick enough. And then we have a cooldown trigger, which was suggested by Chris Riley. So thanks for the suggestion, man. I really liked it. Basically, what this does is if your printer's idle or complete and it hits. Oh no, no. If your printer's completed, not idle, if it's just completed, so the print's finished, you'll be able to get a little status on the UI. It will go blue, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is just a setting that will trigger that. So basically, 30 is my general because I think room temperature is around 20 to 26 degrees, somewhere around that. So I think 30 is a safe value. But if you have different values, feel free to change it now. That's it for printer settings. Now, that's anything that's statically assigned. So you assign it once. That settings is only on this screen for now. I'm sure somebody's going to moan that they want it everywhere, but yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And I'll leave it here because this is now the printer management screen. So we will do our management here. This is now the new printer control panel. Full control between all your printers. You can now switch as well. As you see, my camera updates. That's my printer printing some Dragon Ball Z at the moment for a friend. But yes, if you don't have a camera, you'll get that telling you to go add a bloody camera. How you live without cameras, I don't know. I really don't. Although I can see it being annoying because the bandwidth usage is unbelievable with whatever I have, which is seven or eight. So we can use the drop down up here, which should auto select your defaults if you've got them saved. And now when you click connect, it will save that as a default. So it will set you up and there's no need to go into the other screen and set it. If you do want to change it, you can either just click disconnect and connect or go into the other screen, set it up, change it, whatever else. So we have all of the controls on one screen. No more clicking about to tabs. And we've got a mini file manager, which has been redesigned to look like the actual file manager. And I believe the search should work. Yep, so there's the Excel test. We can do all the things we did before. So new folder. Okay, go into new folder, upload files. Right, have I actually got files? Yes. G-code files, document, random file. It will upload. This is also agnostic. I think that's the right word. So look, I buggered off to another screen. The upload kept going. So if I did the same thing, we'll go in here and we'll pick a couple of small files. 4 files, open, and we went into printer 2. It's not there. It's fine. Still telling you it's uploaded. You can go back into virtual 1 and it will keep the status updating for you and let you know. The only time that will stop is when you go to another page. Same as the file manager. There's no background processes for that yet, but I am looking into doing it to keep those going on any screen. That's about it. There's a new edition of an upload and print, so we can click that and let's set a big long print going. So if we do paint pots, 22 megabytes, it's not too bad. So then we can go to virtual free, upload and print, beer top. Good. So look, that's queued, but we'll still only do one print at a time. We can close that. I think I clicked upload and print on a disconnected printer. So yeah, connect you, and I'll just connect a couple of other printers so we can do some of the other functionality when it comes down to it. There we go. So if we just wait for this to upload, should have picked a smaller file. There we go, printing. Done. It will start heating, and there we go, printing. And I believe the second file was here, so that's uploading. So we'll watch this screen. And it should start printing when the file's uploaded. There we go, printing. Yes, you'll see that this one's in orange. That's because it's connective, and you get nice little hoverovers now if you don't know what's going on. So basically, it will stay orange because OctoPrint, when you first connect to the WebSocket and it's disconnected, it's not actually sending any data. So as you see, these are green. That's because it's live and receiving data. And you will see on some of, because all my hosts are on the same, they'll all be online, but I have set up some printers that obviously don't work to test the different values, and they will show you that OctoPrint is offline. So the states are now split: host state, printer state, and WebSocket, which should clear up a lot of confusion with the older versions, I hope, with actually what's happening with your printers. So old stuff still here. We can go to panel view, see all your printers. We can go to your client settings. So I want to hide all disconnected, show current operations. I'll just do this on all views, apart from list view, because I'm going to show you some of the stuff on that. So there we go, that updates that. As you saw on the printer screen as well, we have groups, which I typed in before, rack 1, rack 2. So if we go to list, and we go, I just want to see rack 1. There's me rack 1. And I just want to see rack 2. There's me rack 2. You also realise that we get a little nice weird codey thing appended to the back end of it. So if you paste that into your browser, it will automatically load the page on that rack, which was another user suggested feature that I quite liked. Camera view the same, obviously still the same. It will only show something with cameras. You've got these two options for now, and I think when power's done, that'll be there because that'll be quite handy. And I might put some more in here. And I do need to jig this to eventually allow for multiple tools and all the rest. I don't know if I've got any history. I have no history yet, so I can't really show you that at the minute unless I print some test cubes. So let's go do that because they'll be pretty quick. So multi-upload still works. You get your names on your printers, select which ones you want to print. Yes, I would like to print after upload. Find my test cube. Start. Right, so that'll do what it used to do. Cycle through all your prints and it will start your printers. So if we go back to list view, we can see they're all printing. They should be done pretty quick, so I'll be able to show you history. For now, let's have a look at the new dashboard. So we've got current operations at the top, a current utilization, so it shows you a percentage of what's idle, offline, and active. How many are actually in those states? Cumulatively estimated time, which is currently showing done because I started all these before Octoprint's system had any chance to actually figure it out. I believe that does update eventually if you leave it. I can't remember what I've got mine set at. Now we have farm utilization, so idle hours will tick up for every printer that's idle, disconnected, offline, complete as well, and it will also do active, so that's any printer that's currently active. Complete is not included in active, so it's literally just when it's printing. And we also get failed hours as well. So if I go to list view, oh, we see the times popped up now, and I believe that's another little bug I've got to look into because that should be showing the average and cumulative estimated time. So if we go in here and cancel number 3, and that logs into history. So we've got our successes. Our failed is there. Another bug. Those indexes should be all unique, and they're not. Right, so now we'll see we have 4 minutes on failed hours. New little status graphs. We've got printer status. This will show a quick look at all your statuses across your farms. It's kind of similar to this graph, I suppose. But I needed to fill space. We've got printer progress, so the key will explain what stuff's in. We can restart these prints, and you'll see that these should update. They're a bit slow every 5 seconds, I think it is. There you go. So these change through the states. You've got heating, whether it's actually cooled down, temperature, and also utilization. So this will show you basically a view of this, but for single printers. Then we have a weekly chart now that will show the percentage of printers in that disconnected, offline, whatever state they are. And then this will build up every week, every day. You'll only be able to see the previous 7 days currently. When I do the statistics page, I will probably take that a little bit further and allow you to drill down a bit more. But it's currently not saving it. And then you get this, which a lot of people have said was pointless, but I like it, so tough. It just basically shows an overview of the temperatures on your farm. So you'll see a global bed. It'll show all the bed temperatures and all the tool temperatures, and then a total at the top. Yeah, that's why it's at the bottom, hidden out of the way. But I actually don't mind using it because I like to see if one of my printers has been jiggling in and out of temperature, whatever else. I am also thinking of bringing that into the printer management page. So yeah, that's the dashboard. We can harvest the print. So you click that. All that does is it clears the print out of current operations. It doesn't actually go to harvest the print, however much I know people would love that, including myself, but it doesn't. We can restart those prints there. We have a new view. Which is current operations requested by a user. That basically is just this up at the top. It's just a full view for that. Great for statuses and stuff that's going on your farm. And you will get the restart print and everything else as well. What else? Right, File Manager still needs to go through a lot of work. I'm going to bring the selected filament that you saw in here from the new Filament Manager and some other stuff as well. I can't remember what else I was going to bring in there, but there was some other status stuff and tweaks, and then some statistics at the top of your files and everything else. So history now has statistics. I have no filament selected, so obviously it can't calculate the cost. This one, when I started it, in fact, all of these, this saying no length to calculate is because basically it was uploaded and printed. so Octoprint didn't have enough time to generate the length or parse the file. If you want those statistics, you are best uploading the file and waiting for it. There will be an option, I think, maybe by the time this is released, to enter that information yourself. But yeah, I don't know. That depends how pedantic you want to be with the history, really, or are you more bothered about time? You can currently update the spool, which I'll detail as why that was, and add notes as you could before. But it will still tell you the full print time and everything else, the general history. And the filament usage. Currently, the filament usage, if there's no spool selected, it will use default PLA and default width of 1.75. So if you're constantly printing in 3mm, or what is it, 2.85mm, I would probably select filament. Then you will actually get a half decent. It's not perfect. None of this maths is perfect to real life, but it gets you somewhere close and gives you a roundabout cost. That's why cost is still showing infinity. Right, we now have server settings where you can download the logs. And I have much better logs now. Your state log will keep everything that's going on with your printers, tell you time and when it logged, what happened, and all the rest of it, and any errors. History collection will show you all the history stuff. Hopefully these are showing up on my screen because I've got no idea. I don't think they are, but I'm scrolling through the history and logs and everything else to show you them. Yeah, that's the API will show the request between the client and the API and anything else if you do set up anything else. State logs, sorry, server logs. That's just the actual server mechanism. So if you have a database failure or anything else, they'll be all in there. We can now change these ports, so you can change the default port OctoFarm is running on. We can turn on and off registration, which was there before, but it was on a little hidden file somewhere that not many people knew about. So I brought it into the database and put it on here. We can require a login, registration, turn it on and off, which, if you like the set of dodos that I found the other day with their instance online, open to the internet, and with registration turned on, this is one for you. Thankfully, I only let the clients connect and talk locally, so you're actually safe from anybody messing up your print, bar doing what I did to you, which was select a load of filament and told you to turn off registration. Timeout settings, I'll not go into too much detail about them here, but they are all set up, defined. You can change them, click save. This, however, does require a server restart, so when you press save, it will say to you, would you like to restart the server? Which should now work. And the only one I'm having trouble with is Docker. But on my testing instances on Linux and Windows, it seemed to work fine. So, yeah. Right, another new bit is the Filament Manager, which has been fully updated. So we can go to, let's say we have some everyone filament. I've got some pre-selected filaments here, which will automatically choose the density and the whatever that's called, diameter for you. You can also change these yourself. You don't have to use the defaults, and you can also have a magical whatever you want material, manufacturer profile, and add. And look, we'll get it there. That will update that, so we can give this a name. I like to code mine, so every spool gets a number, and then I put the color in there. That was probably that was a wonderful time when filament cost that much. It's probably more like that now. How much spool you've used and temperature offsets. This is currently only set on tool, the first tool as well, because OctoFarm still only supports one tool, which I am looking at changing when I figure out how to rewrite a lot of the UI to handle that. A lot of the data is already gathered, it's just nothing in the UI. So I can add that spool in. We haven't got a printer that is selected to. It will grey out printers that are already printing, but we can add this to say virtual 2. We don't need to save that. You can edit your spools. So if I want to say that's only got 500 gram left, yep, and it'll update the remaining percentage. We want to give that, say, a temperature offset of 10 degrees. It's my magical filament that needs it. And we also have this bit down here. This is for the Filament Manager plugin that comes with OctoPrint that I like to use myself because it's usually quite close in letting you know how much is left on a spool and everything else. If you sync, you must have Filament Manager installed on every instance because OctoFarm expects all of your instances to be the same. If you don't, you'll have some issues when you're trying to save, select, and everything else. And it also needs to be set up with the Postgres database. If not, it will probably still work, but when you go, there's nothing to say this filament was picked up from this printer because obviously I've wrote it expecting all of your printers to be set up with it. I mean, why in the hell you'd have Filament Manager set up without the Postgres database on every instance? I don't know. I'm also looking into either rewriting the plugin or taking up the support of the current plugin because I think in OctoFarm's instance, it's pretty pointless having the Postgres database as well because OctoFarm's already got its fully fledged own database. So I would rather link to that. So that means you can come in here, set all your filaments up, and it will push them to all your machines, which it will do anyway when you sync. But obviously, I just think that'd be a little bit cleaner than having multiple databases everywhere. But that's down the pipeline. For now, the sync does actually work quite well. I think there's just a couple of bugs I need to work out with the printer assignments and stuff like that, like selecting multiple filaments. But there we go. That's selected. So if we go into list view and look for virtual 2, we will see that we've got magic, whatever you want, filament selected. So then I can come in here. I have my calibration cube. So if we'll start that calibrate. Why did that fail? Oh, I've not connected to my printer. Start. You'll see that the notifications need a bit of work. I changed a lot with the printer name and everything else, so I've still not got round to doing that yet. I will do though. I will. This all works the same. You'll see actually my test cube was set at, I think, 200. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. My test cube was set to print at 200 degrees, so that's actually applied the offset of 210. I do want to add in bed offset, but before I do that, I need to make sure the Filament Manager will do it as well. That just depends if and when I get round to that at the minute. Unless another maintainer picks it up. I know somebody else has been biting at the heels, but I don't really know Python, so hopefully he picks it up quicker. Obviously, it won't do the database, but unless he wants to put multiple database support in, then we can sync it straight back to OctoFarm, everything else. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. Grouping, new dashboard, new panels. File manager work is still coming. History, we'll be getting a filter here. And I'm also thinking about changing the spool capture because, as you'll see, when virtual 2 finishes, it won't show you that. When your printer finishes, it doesn't show you how much is on it. It shows you... Oh, there it finished. So when your printer finishes, as you see, cost has been worked out to your printer and the cost that you inputted on the filament. It shows you that view, which I don't really like. I want it to show me that view. So the 500-gram one. Now, one little caveat, if you've got filament in the old database, that will now, it won't work anymore, basically, because there was no way to fit the profiles in with the old database structure, so I've had to rewrite it. So sorry about that, but if you really want to fill your old history in, you can come up here and you can go through and select them all, which is something I did myself for my history because I'm that pedantic and I like it complete. So yeah, apart from that, that's 1.1.5. There's obviously other things in the pipeline. There's going to be server alerts, so you can set up an API endpoint, spin that off to whatever you wanted. So, like if you've got Trilio for text notifications, and yeah, anything else like similar to that, it will. I think I'm going to do print done, print failed, and print error to start off with. That will send you an alert to that. I think I'm also going to support SMTP if people really want it. But yeah, apart from that, I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe 2 weeks. I keep saying 2 weeks. I've been saying 2 weeks for 2 weeks now. You can go onto my GitHub page. I've updated that with a project. The project will show you what stage I am with everything. Yeah, that's really it. I hate showing my app because I put so much work into the coding, especially on this version, and it just feels like there's nothing there. There's nothing to show. But yeah, things are coming. I'm starting to build more stuff in the database, which will start laying the groundwork to um, utilize the statistics page when that comes up. So you'll be able to drill down by, I don't know, filament. See most used filament, which printers were most active with that filament. Yeah, I don't know. If you've got ideas for statistics, come along to the Discord, fire them off to me, let me know. Go on to the features.octofarm.net and let me know if you've got any features you want putting in there. Anything else? Well, I can think of. Oh, you're getting drag and drop upload as well, which is being requested by Patreon. Basically, it'll work on panel list, camera, and file manager. File manager will take account of what folder you're in. So if you're in this folder and you drag it, it will upload to that folder. If it's a single file, it will say, would you like to upload and print? Camera, because there's no folder selection, that won't be there. But obviously that will work here because it'll probably be the same code listeners that are on this that do that. I don't know. Queues. I know everybody's been asking for queues, but I obviously need to get all this stuff done, lay the groundwork, everything else, make sure the views are working fine, before I could even get them implemented. Because so many changes have been going on, especially just from 1.1, 0.9 to 1.1 was a full server rewrite. 1.1 to 1.4 was a full rewrite with the WebSockets and everything else. And then now 1.1.4 to 1.1.5 is again a lot of rewriting, especially the views, especially the functions, a lot of the stuff in the database. Upgrading is still painless. It will automatically pick up all your printers in the printer list. Uh, you get a different export now. Your export will have all your printer names in and everything else and fit this. Camera URLs and printer URLs, they should work with the main names. I've not fully tested them. I have had some users testing this version and they said it does work. But yeah, but apart from that, that's really it. I plan to do some instructional videos for installation, probably in a similar format to this because I'm lazy and this is easy. I click a button, record, and here I am. I can talk. Yeah, you'll get instructional videos. I'll probably detail the main platforms for installing. People have been asking for a Raspberry Pi image. I am currently not planning on putting the work into maintaining one because I believe it is a lot of work to maintain one, and developing a full stack application is already bad enough. I will, however, be doing it once all the server rewrites, server upgrades, and stuff is done, because in here, these server settings, we will be having an option to reboot the server and also update the server. Currently, I don't see any point in having a Raspberry Pi image when you can't update it all from the UI, because if you're still logging into the Raspberry Pi and SSHing, then you might as